So here on the bench today, we have the VT132 kit from the High Nibble, and I thought we'd open this up together and take a look at what's inside. Let me set the box out of the way. And in the bubble wrap, we have printed circuit board. So we have the printed circuit board. We have the edge connector for the RC 2014 bus, and of course the PCB, trying to keep as much glare off of it as possible. We looked at this PCB a little closer in the introduction video, and a bag of components. Now, apologies here, I'm working around a camera, just making it a little hard for me to see what I'm doing, and it's hard to do things when you're watching yourself directly on camera. So I may be a little clumsier than normal, not that you'd actually notice. So I seem to have gotten all of the components out of the bag. Let's take a look at what we've got here. So there's obviously the ESP32 module. Very nice. The VGA connector. There should be a couple of key switches here, or push buttons. The PS2 connector. 3 electrolytic caps. There's 1, there's 2. And there's the 3rd. Now Dave did kit this one up for me special. The first kit I assembled, the video was just unusable on it. We wanted to get my twist on assembly videos together. So this will be my second kit that I'm assembling, and I learned some things from the first kit that should make this a better set of videos, and that's why I have the second camera going here as well. So again, Dave has marked the resistor values. On the resistors, 405 ohm, that's kind of an unusual value to see, an 806 ohm, but that's because their precision resistor is used in the color generation. The little piezo speaker, I don't know if you can see over here to the left, there's a little plus symbol on it. It's a polarized component. Pin headers, the 2 right angle ones. 1 and 2 are the 2-pin ones, the 6-pin one. Jumper links that I'll set out of the way. Another jumper link. We've got the 2 disc caps as well. We've got the surface mount voltage regulator here, if I can get it to flip over. Again, it's a surface mount component. So the 2 surface mount components, the transistor. I haven't counted the resistors in here yet. No, dogs are going to help out here. It seems like it's all of them here. Like I say, Dave kitted this up for me kind of last minute to shoot a second video. So these 2 disc caps, as we talked in the first video, and I'm not going to be able to get this to focus on the cap. I can't tell if you can read the marking on there or not. One of these is marked 105 and the other one's marked 104. The 105 being the 1 microfarad and the 104 being the 0.1 microfarad or 100 nanofarad, I believe, as it's listed in the BOM. I can see that there's markings on there. I cannot tell if you can read them or not. But typically these will be labeled 104 and 105. You'll see that indicated in the bill of materials. So there really is all the components we're going to need, and some of these jumper links come in. So I really think that's all the components. I will do an inventory of these against the bill of materials just to make 100% sure, but this feels correct to me. I think we've got everything here. Pretty simple kit to put together, a bit of a challenge with the surface mount. I'm not super comfortable with it, but I've been able to figure it out, and you will be able to too. So with that, let's I guess jump in and compare this to the BOM. So let's go ahead and work through the BOM really quick here and just make sure we received everything. So obviously we have the ESP32 and we have the voltage regulator. We saw those a little earlier in this segment. Hard working around multiple cameras. Sorry for the thing flashing here. So I should have 120 ohm resistors. Let me dig through the little stack of resistors here. Maybe one of these upside down pair. 120 ohms. It's labeled here on the little tag, and there's two of them, just as we expected. And there should be some 2K, which are probably these right here. Also labeled 2K, and there's two of them, so perfect. We should have two 10K, and we do. We should have three 806, which we do. We should have three 405s. And again, Dave has been kind enough to mark these on the resistors for us. And finally, one 4.7K. Now, if your little tag got knocked off, you could use the color codes over here. So the yellow, purple, black. I'm not sure how well I can get those color bands to show up here. You can see the yellow off to the right, purple, black, brown, just as it says here. And that gold band, that final band, is the tolerance of the resistor. So, again, I'm looking through the camera, yeah. Not sure how accurate the color is being captured there. But we have all the resistors. Flip on to the next page here. Interesting, I'd already moved the 10Ks over. We have the two 10Ks. We know one of these two discs was labeled 104. We looked at them kind of close up before. I'm not sure which one this is, or if it'll focus on it. It looks like it says 105 to me. That may have captured focus, 104. We know this other one was the 105. We've got 100 microfarad electrolytic. Oops, I just shot a capacitor halfway across the room. Let me take a look and see if I can read the labeling on this. Yeah, 100 microfarad, 25 volts. Notice the white stripe marked negative. These electrolytics are polarized. We talked about this in the first video. On the PCB, a little something to point with here. The black area on the three sides of these capacitors indicate where the negative goes. And for this particular capacitor, that pin will align to that white mark with the negative symbol in it. These markings are pretty common. There can be slight different variations depending on the manufacturer, but they all follow pretty much that same course. We've got a 22 microfarad here. Again, you can see the white stripe with the negative in it that goes towards the negative. And we've got this is going to be the 10. See if I can get that into focus somewhat here. So you can read it, 10 microfarad, 25 volt. And the same thing again with in this case it's a gold side with the negative in it, but the same thing. The lead there is negative, and typically on an unused electrolytic, the long pin will be positive, the shorter leg will be negative. That should be universally true. Let's move on here. We've got the transistor. I don't know how well I can get this to focus. You can see that it's half moon shaped. It's got a flat to the right here in the video. That's the polarization indication. If we look at the circuit board, where the transistor goes right here, you can see there's a flat right along there. And that flat indicates the direction the transistor goes in. The flat on the package will, of course, go to the flat in the silkscreen. We've got two of these little push-button switches. Oops. We've got the piezo speaker, which we talked about, and when I looked at the previous segment, the little plus symbol definitely shows up here on the device. The note here to get the plus in the right direction, that's actually the mistake. I've mentioned it before, I made in my initial build. On the final version of the silkscreen, there will be a plus symbol here by this square pad. Square pad is typically positive. You'll see this with these capacitors down here as well, if you can see it, where the pad in the white area here is square. That's the buzzer I got in wrong, and like I say, the final version of the silkscreen will have a plus there as well, or should have, but the plus goes over to the left side when that component's inserted. We've got two of these little right angle pin headers. We've got this little, actually that's the wrong one. We've got the two 6-pin right angle pin headers. We've got this 2x4 pin header. Oops, just dropped an experimental EEPROM. It's been heavily modified. We've got our pin connector for the RC2014 bus, and we'll take a detailed look at how to remove the pins on this to get it to mount easily onto the RC2014. We, of course, have the VGA connector. We have the PS2 connector. Purple is, of course, keyboard, so it takes a PS2 keyboard. We know we have the printed circuit board. We've been looking at it. And finally, it's not in the BOM, but we have these little jumper links. And as we move forward, we'll look at what those are used for. So with that, I've got everything in my kit that should have been here. I'm happy with that. And in the next video, we'll start jumping into actually assembling the kit. So we'll talk soon.